right, guys, we're going to get right into it, man. So we have the Hijab Dershowitz debate on Piers Morgan. Everybody's been speculating about what exactly happened after a tweet came out saying that Piers was just angry with Hijab for his behavior and he was behaving like a child, which I'm not going to lie to you guys, I agree. He was acting belligerent throughout the entire debate, and I'm by no means defending Dershowitz at all. You know, he was just acting belligerent the whole debate, making ad hominem attacks. So it looks like he was going on like a let me get as many clickbait clips so I can put on X type approach to the debate, which was, I would say, honest, it was annoying. You know, I'm trying to hear about what their opinion is about what the future of the Middle East holds. Things are about to erupt. A pending Israeli attack on possible Iranian facilities that could literally erupt the entire region in a huge war, which, I mean, it already kind of is at that point now. But let's take a look at this little section here. Let's take a look at this little section here.
A pervert, an old pervert.
He's not a pervert or a monster.
Why is he not? He knew Epstein, and for us, there's good info.
Why are you doing this, Mohammed?
Why not?
Because it's pointless. You may get a few clicks
ask
on
your questions.
You might get a few clicks on it. So what?
It's not.
Ask your questions.
Let me be very clear. It's not pointless. He just called me a pervert. He will be sued now for defamation, and we will be able to resolve this in a court of law. I guarantee you that he will be sued for calling me a pervert.
You are a pervert
the woman
because you
who
are
falsely
acquainted with
accused
Jeffrey
me
Epstein.
Has now withdrawn her
I've got my own defamation cases. I know the law very well here.
That
you
she
can't
may have
confused
me with somebody else, and calling me a pervert will result in a defamation lawsuit in an American court and in a British court. I assure you of that.
I believe
Let's move on to Israel now.
Why don't we move on to the debate?
This in court. Let's move on to Israel.
It's really, is there any point in considering this?
Do you want to throw the towel?
No. What's the point?
All right, guys. So he starts off going into Alan Dershowitz being the guy who defended Jeffrey Epstein, which everybody uses the same ad hominem attack when it comes to Alan Dershowitz. We've heard it before. Everybody starts off the debate by tainting his character, and for good reason, right? You defended Jeffrey Epstein. The guy's a monster, all right, of the century. He's officially the monster of the century, okay? Like, sickest person to probably exist within the last 100 years, aside from other people, other political leaders who I'm not going to name on here. But anyways, so he decides to go in on that, and then he's pushing that crap full throttle for at least half the debate, getting as many clickbait clips as he can get, you know, which was annoying. It's like, we've heard this before, man. Like, move on. Let's talk about, because he could have easily destroyed him just talking about the actual conflict going on in the Middle East, right? But he decided to spend half the entire video mentioning the fact that, you know, Alan Dershowitz defended Epstein and he got some type of massage from one of his I don't know. I'm not really into his history like that. But this gets interesting when they start talking about Iran. So let's get into this clip here.
I'm not doing the debate you were booked to do.
Do you want to both throw the towel?
You were not booked to talk about this.
Do you want to give up?
Just debate the issues.
Let's talk about the issues. Let's talk about Iran. Let's talk about Iran.
Let's talk about Iran.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Do you support Iran?
Okay, well, let me answer your question. Iran was attacked on April the 1st, right? It was attacked, the embassy of Iran was attacked in Syria by Israel. After that, on the first occasion, they then sent missiles and drones, correct? Now, my question to you is, does Iran have a right to defend itself? And if so, what is a proportionate response? Because you see, I've been having a moral quandary about the issue. Piers Morgan, what's a proportionate response for Iran?
I'll tell you what I think about Iran. I think Iran is an unbelievably nefarious place which has been fueling Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah for many years with a joint
Does that have a right to defend itself?
joint ideology that they want to eradicate Israel in any way they can.
Okay. Does it have a right to
I
defend
think
itself?
Iran is one of the most despicable
Does it have a right to
regimes
defend itself?
in the world. I also think that right now the Iranian regime is in serious danger.
You look completely discombobulated.
What do you mean?
You look disheveled.
I'm telling you what I think of Iran.
I'm asking you, do they have a right to defend themselves? Do you think they have a right to defend themselves? Both of you can answer the question. Do they have a right to defend? They were attacked. The sovereign nation was attacked. My question is, does it have a right to defend?
Iran has been fueling attacks on Israel now for what, 40 years?
I've been having a moral quandary about this. I've been having a moral quandary about Iran.
Have you?
Yeah, moral quandary, yes. Moral quandary, I don't know. Do they have a right to defend themselves? And if so, what is the proportionate response?
You're supporting Iran, to be clear.
I'm asking you. No,
Are you supporting Iran?
I'm not supporting. I'm antithetical to many of these organizations for my own purposes. But my question to you...
Do you support the Iranian regime?
Not unconditionally, but I support their right...
What conditions do you agree with them about?
Their right to defend themselves. Do you believe they have a right to defend themselves?
No, I think they're terrorists.
Oh, so they don't have a right to defend themselves? Iran does not have a right to defend itself?
They do, but they're not the ones...
So what is proportionate response?
They're not the ones...
What's the proportionate response?
Okay.
No,
can I answer you?
You asked this question to the people.
You're just going to keep talking. Can I answer you?
What's the proportionate response?
The proportionate response to Iran is to stop them trying to destroy Israel through their proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas. That's what they've been trying to do for many years.
What is a proportionate response of Iran after their embassy was smashed and destroyed in Syria and 16 people were killed? What's the proportionate response?
Well, what about the proportionate response to everything Iran's done?
Which is against the Vienna Conventions.
What about the response to everything Iran has been doing?
What did Iran do to Israel? Who did they kill? Who did they?
They never killed anybody.
Who did they?
How deluded are you,
No, excuse me, hold on. Which Israeli civilian have Iran successfully targeted? Give me one name, please.
You don't think Iran's been responsible for any Israeli civilian dying?
I'm asking you to edify me.
What about the way they funded Hamas?
You can both
slaughtered 1,200 people in Israel.
Iran in particular, I'm not talking about Hamas. We've spoken about Hamas at length. We're talking about Iran.
You do it through their
We're talking about Iran. It's old news. You're talking about
Let's let Alan respond.
Yes, go ahead. Who did they successfully target?
Well, let me respond.
Yeah, please, yeah.
The Iranians have been found by an Argentine court to have been guilty of killing hundreds of Israeli and Jewish people in Buenos Aires. They killed Marines through Hezbollah. They were combatants, but the attack on the Israeli Cultural Center, attack on the Israeli embassy were attacks, according to the Argentinian judicial proceedings, attacks on Israel, entitling Israel to engage in response. Now, let me explain what proportionality means, because you're missing the point. Proportionality doesn't require that a country that's attack back in proportion. Proportionality only means that if you're going to attack a mixed target that has civilians and combatants, the ratio of civilians to combatants must be proportional to the military value of the target. And that's what Israel has been trying to do. But Iran has killed thousands and thousands of Israeli and Jewish civilians over the years. So to defend somehow Iran and saying that they were innocent, even the people who were killed, even the people who were killed in the embassy were combatants who were legitimately killed.
Can you hear me or not?
As combatants.
What's an acceptable ratio for you?
So Iran has no right of self.
Look, this is what I understand with international law. When it comes to embassies of a specific state or country, they are considered as... It's almost considered as you attacking the country itself. So if you're attacking a country's embassy in a foreign land, you're literally, per international law, you have officially attacked the country itself. And what he's saying also doesn't make any sense, because that attack involved two or three civilians that died. Okay. Which... again, he's not defining what a proportional response is. So kudos to Hijab. He asked him, like, what do you mean by proportional response? Because, if you, like, for example, if you're saving one person, one hostage, let's say, and then you kill a stadium full of innocent civilians, I mean, is that really proportional? Because we've seen that take place in the Middle East within the past year. So, again, he's not answering that question. So that's why I was saying Hijab could literally destroy him if they just spoke on the topic at hand. But what caused them to kind of look like the bad guy here was the fact that he just kept, he kept throwing all these weird ad hominems in and going off topic, going off track. But W for him challenging. Let's look at Dershowitz's response here.
What is
Israel was completely entitled to kill.
Let me answer what you just said.
Israel was entitled to kill any combatant that was hiding in an embassy building.
Hold on. You've just conflated two things. You've spoken about the Argentinian case, which there is not actual an independent international investigation on, number one. And then you've spoken about, we speak about 1st of April. Was that a response to Argentina? It was not a response to Argentina. On the 1st of April, they bombed the Iranian embassy in Syria. They did not do so. They said that is a military base and that we're attacking. But we all know that in this country, for example, every single embassy has military attachés. They have military attachés. So if you go to the US embassy here in London, they have armed officers. Does that make it a viable target? Does it make the US embassy a viable target? The Russian embassy a viable target? This is clearly against the UN Convention. It's against the Vienna Convention. You cannot attack. You cannot attack an embassy of another nation in another sovereign land. You cannot do that.
And let me respond to that.
No, hold on.
Let him answer.
Let me respond to that. Let me respond.
It's been
it was not an embassy. It was an ancillary building being used as a military center to plan attacks against Israel. They used the pretext of it being a building somehow attached to an embassy. The evidence is very clear.
Which is?
And be happy to have them bring a lawsuit and see if it can be resolved in a court of law. But Israel was entitled to regard who was killed. The people who were killed were military people who were planning attacks on Israel.
That's not true.
Using an annex to a building to do it. Did that justify 3,000 rockets being sent into Israel?
Hold on. Let me respond.
180 ballistic missiles being sent into Israel?
Have you made your point?
Not.
Okay. The response is as follows. First of all, 16 people were killed officially, and of them, there were 2 civilians that were killed. So what you're saying is only military targets is flatly false, squarely false, barefaced lie. You're a liar, as you were a liar when you were defending Epstein. That's number one. Number two is, when you say that, okay, that was a response, when Iran then, on the 14th of April, responded with missiles, once again, how many casualties were there? How many casualties were there? 0. Just like there were 0 casualties when they responded recently in October. Not one person died except for one Palestinian, ironically enough, that was apparently killed in the October one. But in the April one, no one died. It was precise strikes at military bases. Number 2, you speak about this being a base. As I say now, if you look at Collins' dictionary right now, there's 2 aspects of what is a military base, vernacularly speaking. Number 1 is that there has to be weapons in that place, and number 2, that there has to be training of soldiers. This is usually understood as what is a military base.
That's just made up. Those are made up stories. There's no truth to that at all.
What's made up? Which part of it is made up?
There's no truth to that.
Let him respond.
I haven't finished my point.
The fact that you need weapons.
No, let me finish what I'm saying.
That's just made up. You don't need weapons to have a military base. It could be a command center where they're planning attacks.
Let me finish.
That's just made up.
Let me finish. The
more you say, the happier I am.
Okay. What I'm saying to you is that if you look at almost every Western government embassy in the West and outside of the West, they have military attachés. You can fact check this. You can go online. You will see in the US embassy, in the French embassy, in the British embassy, military guards, people there that have their own weapons and guns. So according to you, that would be a military base. See, are they then legitimate targets?
What happened in this case was they used an annex of a building
as a military base. Can we then contravene the Vienna agreements? Can we then conventions?
You don't know what you're talking about. You have no knowledge of international law or diplomacy law, the law of war.
You haven't got one peer-reviewed. You don't have one peer-reviewed work on international law. And Jimmy Carter, the former U.S. president, said you have no knowledge of Palestine. Don't speak to me about Palestine and these issues. Jimmy Carter, a former president of the United States, as you acknowledge, you've written it in your book. He says that you have no knowledge of the Palestine issue. Jimmy Carter said that. Don't speak to me like that.
Well, you want to hear something?
Yeah, the only thing you have knowledge about is where the doors and the rooms and the masseuses are.
It was the back cover of my book.
That's what you have knowledge of.
I've written 13 books.
Did you touch Virginia?
Did you touch her? On Israel.
Did you touch Virginia?
Some of which
Did you touch her? Did you touch that woman?
Never heard of her. Never met her. Never met her.
Don't lie.
Never.
Don't lie to me. Did you touch that woman or not?
I'm telling you, I never met her, and she acknowledged.
We go ahead clickbaiting.
Did you touch
writing, under oath?
Did you
that
sexually
she may
assault
have
her?
You have no knowledge of
this
his case, do you?
else,
You wouldn't be
I'm asking you a question.
You're repeating
Why are you defending me? Has he got leverage
Because he
over it?
won a case. It was proven to be lies.
I'm asking him a
Why
question.
are you doing this?
I'm asking him a question.
This is not about Israel.
This is
he's just being annoying. Like,
Trying to be clever, Dave, but what you're doing is inviting a lawsuit from London, which you will get.
I'm ready for it.
You are?
Yeah.
Really?
I've got 4 defamation cases, all of which your friend Douglas Murray, I'm taking him to court.
Well, good luck with taking on Annan on this, is all I would say.
I'm ready for him. Oh, you love him, don't you?
No, he's just one case.
I just wonder what he has.
Defending himself.
I just wonder what leverage he has. Does he have any leverage on you?
God, this is pathetic, man.
I don't know why you keep defending him.
He's now accusing me of supporting
on the show. Why are you doing it now?
He's a monster. Right? This man is a monster.
Well, why debate then?
Because I don't mind debating monsters, just like you don't mind debating monsters. We have that in common.
Do you want to finish the debate about the bigger picture or not?
I'm speaking about it. You guys are the ones rattled. I'm not rattled.
No one's rattled. We just think it's pathetic.
You're both rattled.
We think it's pathetic because you don't understand what you're talking about.
Really? That's just an assertion, really, isn't it?
No, you're just trying to get your clicks on X, and that's fine.
Oh, is that what you do? Is there anything wrong with that?
No, you know what? Try and debate the issue.
You always brag about it, my friend.
Try and debate
you brag myself.
Yeah. A lot of Israelis believe that Iran is really rattled and that Israel has a genuine opportunity to topple this regime. Do you think that is a likely eventuality? Is it a thing that Israel should be pushing to do?
I think if Israel has the military, Iran said if Israel ability,
all the things that you would say Israel is.
When they were doing the thing with Bashar al-Assad, that is of course my view.
But they're only the comment about Hezbollah.
Sure, I don't necessarily have an antithetical
comment about Hezbollah.
Sure, I don't necessarily have an antithetical view to Hezbollah. However, on this case, what I mean by that is that I don't necessarily support them in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
How do you
categorize them?
I categorize Hezbollah in their response to Israel as justified in that response.
And in the response for Assad in Syria against fellow Arabs?
Yeah, well, you and I both know that I have an antithetical view. I don't think that they were on the right side of history then. I do think they were acting in
So they were terrorists then?
Well, I mean, it depends on how. I think the word terrorism is a social construct.
What were they when they fought for Assad?
Oppressive, and that's on the record. There's no doubt about it. You can call whatever you want. But
they were all the things that you would say Israel.
Okay, he's a liar. So the real reason that he doesn't want to state why he does not, he'll agree when Iran and Hezbollah attack Israel because he's an anti-Zionist, but he won't acknowledge that he supports them or even really acknowledges them as Muslims because he has what we call a real issue or sectarian issue with the Shiite Muslims, right? The Salafis. His form of Islam that he practices denounces Shiites for whatever reason. You know, I'm not going to get into the religious theological aspect of it, but he has a serious issue with the Shiite population, which is similar to, you know, Saddam Hussein and ISIS and those people, you know, that type of mentality that he shares with, you know, his form of Salafi Islam. But let me tell you something, man. The reality of it, the situation he wants, and what they love to do is to pivot to the serious situation, not knowing the fact that, you know, the Bashar and Hezbollah and them were really fighting the Islamic Caliphate, the ISIS, right, which is denounced by all forms of religious theologians in Islam. No one on earth agrees with their theology except for maybe Hijab and his Dawah friends, right? Nobody on earth agrees with what their actual version of Islam or what distortion of it. I don't even know what it is. They're really a terrorist group. And Hezbollah and Assad, right, they fought against them and pushed them out of Syria and parts of Iraq, right? They defeated them along with, you know, the Russian military. So that's his issue. He has a sectarian strife with Iran because Iran's mainly 100% a Shiite country, you know, so he'll never stand with them and pray with them, right? But he'll he'll support them when they attack Israel, right? Which is the common. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is the face of what we call Ahl Sunnah or the Sunni Muslim. Not all the Sunni Muslims. I'm not gonna put them all in one box, but the head of states of the Sunni governments, which have pretty much sold their booty to the West.
When they were doing the thing with Bashar al-Assad. That is, of course, my view.
But they're only that thing when they're doing that. When they're attacking Israel, that's fine.
When they attacked Israel...
when they're attacking Arabs on behalf of Bashar al-Assad...
No, but that shows consistency.
No, hang on.
Piers whooped his ass on that. Piers got him. Piers just got him. All his shouting and all that, all that went down the drain when he just pointed out the biggest hypocrisy that he has made the entire debate. And watch his answer. Look, it just falls flat.
Doesn't that show consistency?
No.
Why not?
It doesn't show consistency.
It shows consistency.
The inconsistency is that you think that was bad, but when they're attacking Israel, that's fine.
Let's respond. On the 8th
Boom! And Piers got him. All that shouting and all that ad hominems and all that stuff, and you support this and defending Palestine, all that went down the drain. Piers just showed him how big of a hypocrite this guy is, right? And if Piers was more knowledgeable about how he feels about Shiite Muslims, right, he would understand why this guy's over here making this dumb contradiction, which we know that, that situation in Syria was really to fight off the Islamic Caliphate, the ISIS. So, or quote unquote Islamic. They're not Islamic. They're devils. And Piers just literally showed everyone, the millions of viewers, how much of a hypocrite this guy is when it comes to this topic here. Let's keep playing the clip.
You mentioned many times before in your interviews that they attacked Israel.
Yes.
They attacked Israel, right?
They did.
That's not true. They attacked the Sheba Farms, which is occupied territory.
Which Israel has claimed as its own since 1967.
Wait a minute. It's occupied territory.
Which Israel has claimed as its own since 1967.
This shows your lack of knowledge on the matter. It does.
Well, part of what I just said is not true. They've claimed it as their own since 1967.
Wait, hold on. This is occupied territory, according to the UN, according to the US. It's occupied territory.
I just said Israel have claimed it as
so
its own.
So what? They can claim. I can claim what I want. ISIS have made many claims.
So given Israel,
whatever Israel claims is true. Is that what we are meant to believe here?
Hezbollah has fired beyond the Sheba Farms.
Now, let me explain. The Sheba Farms were
Okay, so yeah, this is another thing. Hijab makes a good point. October 8th, Hezbollah fired. Technically, it was into the Sheba Farms, which per UN, I forgot what resolution it was. That is actually considered by international law and the UN as occupied territory, because there was a resolution giving that land over to Lebanon, but Israel, I believe Israel still has military control of that region. And that's where Lebanon fired into, right? So technically what Hijab is saying is correct. When they always want to make this claim that, Lebanon or Hezbollah was firing at Israel literally the day of October 8th, into Israeli territory, technically, right, that wasn't the case. Okay, but according to, you ask most Israelis or people who are pro-Israel, they'll tell you that that's their territory there, which is not legally.
Cities,
hold on.
Israel has
Dershowitz, I haven't finished yet. Dershowitz, I haven't finished yet. On the 8th of, you talked about the 8th of October. When they fired on the 8th of October, they fired, and you can go ahead and bring evidence that they fired anywhere else other than the Sheba Farms. They fired on the Sheba Farms. After that, there was response from Israel. And then after that, because there was response of Israel into Lebanon, then Hezbollah attacked the northern part of Israel. This is what happened. And that is justified according to international law. So on this issue, you will not find differences between Sunnis and Shias. You'll not find differences in us. We are all united in the hatred of the Zionist entity.
All right, Alan, your response to that?
Well, Hezbollah has been firing rockets at Israel for years and years under the auspices of Iran. Israel has fought back and responded, and Nasrallah has called for all the Jews of the world to be brought together into Israel so that they can be taken care of at the same time in the way that Hitler took care of the Jews of Europe. This is a genocidal claim by Nasrallah on behalf of Hezbollah, and certainly Israel had the right to respond to Hezbollah as they did. And, you know, you can quarrel with particular responses as you can quarrel with particular responses of any country. What the United States did after 9/11 was seen by many as an overreaction. Countries react when their civilians are murdered the way they were on 9/11 and the way they were on October 7th. And Israel had the right to respond. The United States and the world said so. And Hamas could end all the suffering in Gaza instantaneously by simply releasing the hostages and putting down their arms and calling for a genuine peace rather than a tactical ceasefire that just allows them to rearm and repeat October 7th. Remember, they said they would repeat October 7th over and over and over and over again. And as Elie Wiesel once said, always believe the threats of your enemies more than the promises of your friends. And so Israel has to act
let me bring
on
back
the assumption
Mohammed.
that Hamas is going to try to do this again and again.
Okay, Mohammed,
we've listened.
Mohammed, you've said so far, unless I'm wrong, you don't support Hamas, you don't support Hezbollah. So there's probably more bits of agreement here with Alan Dershowitz and me than you might like to admit if you don't support those two groups.
Okay, so I don't see what that's got to do with anything. We were talking about.
I said at the start I wanted to find points of agreement.
Sure.
Can we all agree that Hamas and Hezbollah are a bad thing?
I can agree that the Western man, has tried to use social constructs like terrorism to try and absolve themselves from all the things that they.
What would you call them, Hamas and Hezbollah?
Well, I mean, just like any human being. Just like any human being, they can sometimes be oppressive and they can sometimes be on the right side of history.
Most human beings do not do what Hamas did on October the 7th.
Well, in the Zionist entity, they do. And they do worse than that. They don't.
Israel's never committed an atrocity on that scale.
On what scale?
On that scale.
Explain. What scale?
Killing 1,200 people.
They've killed 40,000.
Sorry, in one day.
All right. And then, you know, Hijab brings it back up and he says he makes a pretty good counter argument. Let's play the counter.
Massive.
They've killed 40,000.
Israelis that could get their hands on. Kidnapping children.
On the 23rd of September, what happened?
Holocaust survivors.
We were talking about October the 7th.
Raping and abusing women. Beheading people. Oh, you don't think that happened, do you?
Well, hold on. You just said raping and abusing. We just started the show with an admission that there's a problem in Israeli society. That there was.
I'm talking about Hamas.
Yeah, but you just said Israel doesn't.
We both condemned what you talked about earlier in relation to
So why are you
Israel.
saying Israel don't do that? What's wrong with you?
I didn't say that.
You just said that now.
No, I didn't.
You said Israel doesn't do, and then you just listed 3 or 4 things, and that was one of the things that you just listed.
No, I said Israel had never...
Am I speaking a foreign tongue?
Sorry, listen to what I'm saying. I said Israel never perpetrated an atrocity on that scale.
Okay. On the 23rd
one day against the people
how many
of Palestine. They never have.
Well, hold on. How many civilians died on October the 7th?
Civilians about 800.
Oh, sure. All right.
But hang on.
Hold on.
But nearly 7,000 more were wounded.
Sure.
7,000
What happened on the 23rd of September?
Were wounded.
What happened on the 23rd of September?
7,000.
Okay. Sure.
Think about that number.
Okay, no problem.
That's the scale of people who were attacked on that day.
Are we talking over each other? It's 2 on 1 now.
8,000 people were attacked.
No problem. On the 23rd
One of the most horrendous terror attacks.
Is this going to be a monologue or is it a dialogue?
History. I'm telling you some facts.
I know the facts.
You may not like it, but I'm telling you them.
Okay, I'm telling you, on the 23rd of September, Israel attacked Lebanon. How many people died? How many civilians died, according to the Lebanese health, the Ministry of Health?
I believe it's about 2,000 was the last recorded number I saw.
No, in one day. On the 23rd of September.
Including combatants.
You know, Hijab comes back with the W. That's true. 23rd of September, 2,000 Lebanese, mainly civilians, died from Israeli bombardment, which a lot of people don't know that. In one day.